Welcome to This Week in Real Estate with Jonathan Harmon and Bryan Nale, your local experts on all things real estate in Middle Tennessee. Listen in as they discuss the current state of the market, the latest trends, and have a little fun while doing it. We do want to say the opinions voiced on this podcast are for general information only and not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individuals. All right, y'all, welcome back to another week of This Week in Real Estate, where we're putting the own and homeowner.
Homeowner.
Yeah, that's what y'all do. That's what we do.
That's what we do.
Absolutely.
We help people own homes.
We do, yeah.
Or in your case, you help some people unown homes.
Yeah, so
Unown homes.
you know, you got that whole, like, not to take a dark turn, but there's this whole turn of unaliving. Have you heard this?
Yeah, he got unalived.
Yeah, or he unalived himself or whatever. So I guess why not say unowned instead of sell? I don't know. I think that's dumb, but they didn't ask me, did they?
Who is they?
So, exactly.
Them, they're
I
they.
think that's the problem. Trent, I'm fighting your microphone, buddy.
Should have fought it a minute ago.
I know I should have. Here,
I'm just gonna hold
how about
it.
that?
I'm just going to hold it.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, you sound great.
Okay.
Anybody
fantastic.
watching that's a regular watchee of this show will notice that Jonathan and I switched chairs.
We did switch
Everything's
chairs.
backwards. He doesn't know that you have to wrestle with that microphone over there.
Yeah.
But he just found out.
I did. I unsat in that seat over there, and now I'm re-sitting, perhaps.
We had fun on Monday. Remember Monday
No.
when we went to do a radio show?
Oh yeah, we did with Andy Herzer.
Yeah.
Super guy.
Shout out to First Shot.
First Shot. Yep. They do some really cool stuff here in our community for a lot of people, and he's got a lot of kids that participate in that. I didn't really know the scope of it. I knew it was big, but I didn't really know the scope. And we got to talk about Cedar Glade. We got to talk about real estate a little bit.
He unparticipated in the real estate business when he started First Shot.
He did. He unparticipated. He unlicensed.
It's funny. I always love hearing stories about people's cheese getting moved. And he told this cool story about how he was a mortgage lender, and he was at this conference, and some guys talking, and his boss noticed that he was like taking all these notes and just furiously writing down all these like just notes from the seminar. And
this is what, 2007?
Somewhere around there.
I think it was before the crash.
Before the crash.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought it was like right after the crash.
Maybe it was. Andy, you can, if you're watching, chime in.
Either way,
it's been a while.
They get back in the car, and his partner or boss or whoever it was like, I saw you taking all those notes, man. You excited to fire, get back into the office and start firing away? And then he's like, I'm going to use this for First Shot. I'm going to use this little tidbit I learned for First Shot. I'm going to do this for first. Like all this is like, he's like, I'm done. I'm out. I'm leaving the mortgage business, and I'm going to go run my nonprofit.
And good for him. He's doing a good job, doing good work here in the community. So excited to partner with him on a few upcoming events and just joining those missions together. So, one thing, and I know this is the real estate show, but one thing I think it's important, we're going to talk just for a minute about Cedar Glade, but because the philosophy sticks to the people that are involved, even more so than to the business. And when we opened Cedar Glade, and when we, as we've run it, we've been very purposeful and very adamant about community involvement. So whether that is through donations and such for nonprofits to help further their mission, or donations of our time, or donations of our space, or whatever. Even the for-profit part of that, we welcome everybody at our place. We want you to be here. It is a place where you belong, no matter what who you are. Now, there's some moments that perhaps it's time for you to go home, but you do belong with us, and we make it very clear about that. And I think because of that, we have built quite a community there, and it's it's indicative of the people that are behind it, myself and you and Lacey and Jeremy, and I think that shines through when we talk with people like Andy and Missy and Trent and so many others, Emily over at Kamari House, and so many of these other organizations that we know and love. We're hosting a longest day event for Alzheimer's Association. We're hosting something for Alzheimer's of Tennessee. And all of that stuff. Premise Mortgage will be involved in. J. Harmon Home Team will be involved in, because not only do we want to be a part of it, we want to really be a part of it.
Yeah.
And I think that's important. So that's a little humble brag, a little pat on our own backs there.
It's truth though.
Yep. So, man, today we do this every now and then, and I really want to dive into the numbers a little bit.
Yeah.
They're pretty interesting, and the numbers specifically that we're going to talk about are showing and market numbers associated with Rutherford County. This is a Rutherford County based show. That's where we do the vast majority of our business, both of us. And the 6 people that watch us are probably here in Rutherford County. So I figured we'd focus on that. So right now in front of me, I've got the summary for May of 2025. This is through RealTrax. RealTrax is still by far the number one place as far as where the market is reported. It is our stock index, if you will. So I know there's all kinds of talk about Zillow, and we're going to go to a Zillow-based MLS and all this other stuff, and it ain't happened yet. And I will fight it until the day I lose or die, whichever. I keep going dark here, man.
Yeah, but it's yeah. I mean, let's try to cheer up.
Cheer up, Charlie. I know. So let's go May 2024 to May 2025.
Are these numbers going to take us darker, or are they?
Yeah, they are. They sure are. So new listings, it is down 7% May over May. Active inventory is up 36%, which is crazy. So if we pulled several, if we look at months going back, new listings are down month over month. But then they're staying around too. So that's why that active inventory is up 36%. The other thing to note is that, last year it was a kind of a normal seasonality to things, and May was the busiest month. This year, I think we're going to find, when we look at these numbers next month, I think we're going to find that June was our busiest month. So I think that seasonality bumped.
It's late.
A month. Yeah, a month late.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. And what I tell people is that the spring selling season starts whenever it gets warm and people decide it's going to stay warm.
Yeah.
So it could start as early as March.
Yeah.
In years past, it has. This year, that didn't happen. It got warm. It stayed warm. It was rainy, but so what, right? And instead, it's really just now kind of picking up. I'm seeing more showings on my listings, but even that, man, it is not setting the world on fire.
Yeah.
By any stretch. Total inventory is up 14%, so stuff is sticking on the market. Closings are down 14%, so the month of May only saw 431 closings in Rutherford County. I mean, that number historically crosses 1,000 in a month.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Wow.
That is crazy. Sales price average is up just a little, 7%. The median is up 2%. But our listing average list price is down 3%. So here's what I think is happening. I think we're finally seeing with that with those total inventory numbers being up a little bit, we're seeing price come down just a little bit, and we're seeing kind of a normalization. We're reaching for an equilibrium right now.
Yeah.
And we've said for a long time. So months of supply, we're at 3.32. Historically, that months of supply is 7 before it hits what we would call an even market.
Yeah.
And anything above 7 is going to be a buyer's market. Well, here's the thing. We absolutely 100% right now are functioning as a buyer's market.
Totally.
Even with only 3 1/3 inventory.
Yeah.
Right? 3 1/3 months of supply. That's what I was trying to say. And why is that? Well, I think that the inventory amounts total are so small that it compresses all of those normal numbers, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So if the total inventory is a half of what it normally is, then the months of supply is also at half, but the pace hasn't really changed all that much.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So we're in a buyer's market.
I think we're in an era where life happens fast, and people don't have time or patience to like. So and we've said this for a long time. 7 months might be the historical where we're even, and that would feel like an absolute.
It's an eternity.
In 2025, taking 7 months to sell a house, when you used to have houses that had birthdays, listings that had birthdays, selling a house, taking 7 months to sell a house now is just an eternity. And it's as fast paced as everything is, and this Google society and this instant news society, and like, hey, I need to know a complicated math problem to help my kid with their homework. I'm done.
ChatGPT.
Yeah.
And especially coming out of 2020 and 21, where days on market was, months of supply was point whatever, 0 point something.
Right.
And so we've seen it, we've experienced that microwave market, and now we're more like in an air fryer market.
Yeah.
It's still faster than an oven.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it feels like a lot longer compared to even an industrial microwave. We were in like a flash fryer or something before.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like, good gracious.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting. And when I say that we're behaving like a buyer's market, I mean, so many of our deals include closing cost. They include,
and they have for a while, right?
They have, yeah. But it's like it's
there now.
It's set in.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crystallized.
Yeah.
Right. Every type of loan is back on the table. Like that's not even a thing anymore. I can't imagine not getting a deal accepted because it's THDA. Yeah. Not getting a deal accepted. Yeah. Right. Where 5 years ago I couldn't imagine getting a THDA deal accepted. Yeah. So it's really flipped completely.
Really has. Yeah.
It's very interesting for sure. The other thing, so I'm looking over here at showings. So showings over the last year. Now, please understand that for Real Tracks, these numbers are a little skewed. Not in the 1 year look back, but certainly if we were to go to a 5 year look back, because they only really started doing their showing service like really about 4 years ago. Correct me if I'm wrong, Real Tracks. Maybe it was 5 years ago, but it didn't get immediately adopted. Yeah. People stuck to showing time and some of the others. But it's the vast majority of listings are now scheduled through Real Tracks. It makes sense. Okay. It's a one-stop shop. Yeah. Right. But they're down. So month of May, April was higher than the month of May. So again, going back, and it's not much. It's a marginal difference. Yeah. I'm really going to be curious what June looks like and see if it came back up. I don't know that it will.
You know what I see more of now too, and to speak to the buyer's market, I see buyers backing out of transactions
left and right.
Just saying, you know what, never mind. And some of them are doing it in ways they'd lose their earnest money, and they're comfortable with that decision.
It says a lot if they're willing to lose a couple grand. Yeah. To not
move forward on purchasing a home.
Yeah, for whatever reason.
When just 3 years ago, it was just like, oh my gosh, we actually got a house under contract. Can you believe it? We're going to be able to buy a house.
Come hell or high water, we're buying it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, the septic tank is got to be completely replaced. No problem. We're in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
The roof's leaking. Okay, we'll have to fix it.
Good thing I know a roofer. Yeah, those kinds of things. Yeah, exactly. It's pretty crazy, man. And
I think that tells too. If you're listing a house or you're thinking about listing a house, you should probably do it pretty soon before summer's over to get the peak of this market, because we don't know what the fall is going to bring.
My prediction is going to be crickets, man.
And so if you have a home to sell, like Jonathan said, dress it up. It needs to be attractive. It needs to be a place that people can see raising their family in and living in. It needs to be in good shape, clean, move-in ready. Because buyers aren't looking for projects right now. Buyers are looking to get into a place and just move right in.
And I'll tell you, it is a market. There are people that are trying to buy a house right now that are gung ho, and so I was in this weekend a multiple offer scenario. With a buyer, and we competed against 5 other offers. They got 6 total offers on a house under $400,000 in a neighborhood that is typically over 5
Yeah.
right, or close to 500K. So it's the smaller home in the neighborhood. It was dressed up, had new carpet, had new paint, had a new deck. Like, it was nice.
In the month of kind of moving from April into May, I had 2 or 3 situations where buyers were in multiple offer situations. So this what's so weird about this market is that
You can have all of the above.
It is you can have a listing that gets multiple offers in the first weekend it's on the market, maybe the second, and then you can have a listing that might sit for
Months.
6 weeks, 8 months.
I had one that
weeks.
sat for 6 weeks or 6 months rather.
Yeah.
And it was a nice house. We finally closed on it.
Yeah.
But in order to close, we had to give stuff away.
You had to give, yeah.
So, yeah, it's crazy. I think the bottom line, and we're kind of transitioning towards a pro tip here, but man, please, 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 and we'll come back to this in a minute, engage a professional.
Yeah.
It is not, you can't read enough online right now to navigate this market and not lose out somehow. You just can't.
Yeah. Let's, I want to see a funny real estate picture.
I do too.
Is that toilet set? Is it plumbed?
I don't know.
Or is it just hanging out?
I think it's just hanging out. You got,
Is that a shower to the left?
yeah, I think that's a shower to the left, and that looks like a sink hookup to the right. I don't know, man. It looks like there's connections in the brown part next to the toilet. Do you see that?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's connected. And look, you got a blue and a red hanging out of the wall. That's
Yeah.
a water heater
That's
connection.
a water heater connection, yeah.
And maybe a dryer connection.
It looks
Maybe
like
those
it
are
could be.
washer
Yeah.
and dryer connections right there.
What a utility room. It's got it all.
It's got it.
Hey, the good thing about this is if you forget to lock the door and you sit down on the pot,
Yeah.
right, and somebody starts to open it, all you got to do is this.
Yeah, you just
Yeah,
occupied.
lovely. That's
We got some good ones coming.
There's
down
some
the
good
line.
tile work on the walls too. It changes halfway down the room. It looks like the tile work changes,
yeah.
It's like right in the middle.
or maybe one half of it's tiled and the other half isn't.
I'm gonna say this isn't done yet, but here's the thing: it's on the MLS.
Right.
Y'all do better.
Do better.
Do better.
Moral of the story: do better.
I mean, obviously, that's some nice flooring. The walls do look like it's probably intriguing. It's hard to tell from this picture. Somebody just jumped the gun. This house wasn't listing ready yet.
Yeah.
There's sprinklers. I think are those sprinkler heads or are those tiny
I think
lights?
those are can lights.
They're little bitty.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Trent.
Yeah.
That
Way to go, Capital
you
Top.
know, as somebody who is currently renovating a house, this is inspiring. Make sure send that picture to Lacey for me, would you? Okay. You're like, hey, babe, this is how I want to do our bathroom.
All right, where are we at?
Pro tip.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Pro tip. You got one. I got one. You want to go first?
To you, Bryan.
All right, so I've got 2 pro tips. I probably should save one for next week, but I'm going to be at the beach next week, so I'm going to go ahead and throw them both out there.
Are we going to do a live remote?
We could.
You sit on the beach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Make
Everybody
everybody
wants
jealous.
to see me in a
Drink
bathing suit.
beer, have a
Yeah.
big straw hat. That'd be great.
All right, so when they say don't buy a car while you're in escrow,
They mean it.
they mean it, and
my
that they don't
gosh.
mean don't finance a car. They mean don't buy a car. So
Interesting. I see where this is going.
So someone, this is not a transaction that I'm a part of. It's a transaction that I'm going to probably step in and try to rescue. Somebody's cash to close to get their DTI where it needed to be. They were needed to put like $170,000 down, and they had it. And then their car broke. So they didn't fix their car. They bought a new $65,000 car with cash. Now they don't have the cash to close.
And you said they needed to adjust some things for DTI.
Right, so they can't just change the loan amount because the loan amount won't work without that. So, they're now have found themselves in a rescue situation. So, I should know a little bit more about that this afternoon. But when they say don't buy a car, it doesn't mean don't go get a car loan. It means don't buy a car.
I tell my clients, if you buy anything bigger than a pack of gum, call your lender first.
Yeah, and
Yeah, don't buy anything.
and like. Okay, so I think their plan was before they would get to closing, they were going to sell a diamond ring, and then they were going to get their cash back.
How is the diamond ring market right now?
I don't know, but we had another loan officer on our team the other day that sent a question and said, "Hey, if somebody's got gold and silver bars in their safe, can they use that?" Well, you have to deal it, right? You have to liquidate it. You have to, and
that's not a super liquid
green cash.
Yeah, it's not a super liquid asset.
Yeah. So that was my first pro tip. Now, my second pro tip, and I posted this on Facebook the other day. Most of the time when I post mortgage stuff on Facebook, I get like crickets. The algorithms just bury it because they're like, this guy's doing business stuff on his personal page.
One more guy,
yeah. And so, but this one got a good bit of likes and interactions and stuff. But
did you put the zebra on it?
I did not. No zebra. Yeah,
I'm over that zebra.
That played out real fast, didn't it? But this, like, the old advice has always been, hey, don't apply for any credit while you're in escrow. If you're trying to buy a house, don't make any large deposits. If you're trying to buy a house, don't make any large withdrawals. If you're trying to buy a house, the new advice needs to be included in that old advice. We need to start telling people, Affirm and Klarna and these, like, hey, I'm going to buy some tickets for a Southwest flight, but I'm going to pay for it over the next 6 months.
That's credit.
That's credit. It doesn't show up on your credit report. So what happens is your loan officer pulls credit. We don't see that. And unless we go through your bank account statements with a fine-tooth comb, we don't see that you have $100 a month you're paying to Affirm, and then you have 3 different Klarnas that are all $35 a month.
I didn't know that it didn't hit your credit report.
They don't hit your credit report, but they show up on your bank account statement. And so then we have to order what's called a credit supplement to add those to your debt to income calculation. And it can take and most of the time they're small balances, right? Most of the time people do this and they're just like, it's almost, I don't know what the thought process is, but if you're thinking that you're going to buy a house and you're in the market to make a home purchase in the next, 3 months, 6 months, 2 months, 1 month, don't do that. If you need something, just buy it.
Yeah. Or just wait.
Or just wait to buy it. But and in some cases, those things can it can even be so much that it causes a deal to not work out.
Wow.
That's wild.
That's interesting. I honestly didn't know that didn't hit your credit. That's interesting.
Yeah, those things.
Why is that?
They don't do a credit report. It's just like a checkout. It's like a layaway kind of thing.
Is there not a high failure rate on that?
There's no interest.
There probably is a pretty high failure rate on it. I don't know. I mean, there's small amounts.
How they're making money.
There's small amounts.
There's no interest on them?
No, there's no. Well, there's a fee to use it, right? It's like a flat.
I don't think so.
I think most of them, it's like, they're going to tack on a fee. So it's like you might be buying a $300 something at Dick's Sporting Goods, and then you go to check out. They're like, hey, do you want to pay for this over? Or you're doing the mobile or your online checkout. And they're like, hey, you can split this into 6 payments instead of paying for it all at once for
$2 a payment
for
or
a $20 fee.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll pay the $20 fee, and then I don't have to pay $300 today. And if you put that on an APR, it's probably really high.
Yeah, but that's how they get away with all the usury laws.
Yeah,
because they don't amortize it out.
Yeah,
interesting.
It's just a set fee.
Interesting. Very interesting.
What's your pro tip?
So my pro tip, I'm going back to what I said, and that is hire a professional. So I've got a place under contract right now, and it's a for sale by owner, and the owner is not an agent. He's actually pretty competent. He's doing a pretty good job. Of course, I have to generate all the paperwork, which that's fine. It's whatever. But he's doing a pretty good job. But at some point, he was told that his place was on sewer, and it's not.
Whoa.
And it never has been. And so I said, hey, we're coming out to inspect the septic. He was like, well, I don't know why it's on sewer. And I was like, no, it's on septic. And I mean, I know the history of the neighborhood. I know, a lot of the area, all of that stuff. Plus, experience dictates that if part of the subdivision is on septic, most of this, should be all of the subdivision. Yeah. And if you're not in the city limits, I only know of one subdivision in Rutherford County that is not in the city limits that is still on sewer, and that's Buchanan Estates. Now, you have neighborhood sewers called step systems. Right. That's a different system altogether. So there's 3. Yeah. Right? 3 different types. And that's the only one that I'm aware of that exists like that. And anyway, so I pull the TDEC report and send it to him, and he was just like, I'm speechless. For 9 years, he thought it was on sewer.
Wow.
Oh my
And
gosh.
the water company was apparently charging him. So now he told me how much, and I'm like, yeah, that's a little on the low side. So I don't know what they're charging you for.
Yeah.
But that's not a sewer charge.
Wow.
That's insane.
It's crazy, right?
9 years. Wow.
So I don't know if whoever he bought it from didn't disclose properly.
Right.
I don't know that
Misunderstood.
backstory
Yeah.
to it. Yeah, I don't know. But bottom line is, make sure that you have a professional representing your best interest that not only asks the questions and is not afraid to do that, but knows the questions to ask.
Yeah.
You know, and is confident enough to push back when somebody pushes on them.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, for real. Absolutely.
So anyway, yeah, that's it.
Did we do it?
I think
Is that
so.
a
Hey,
show?
we'll talk events for a minute.
Sure.
Man, we are about to run the gauntlet at Cedar Glade. The month of June is crazy. So this weekend, the Great Tennessee Air Show is happening. If you live in the northern end of the county, you will start seeing, if you haven't already, the Blue Angels start practicing today and tomorrow.
Right? Yeah. Do you know
And,
what time they practice?
They probably won't start until about 2, but the other planes will start at 11.
Okay.
Yeah, so they'll start, or I'm sorry, 12. They start shutting the roads down and stuff. So definitely go check that out. It's a good time. Cedar Glade is serving there. We're serving draft beer over in the Flightline Club and canned beer in all the concession stands. So that's pretty exciting. And then next week, we've got International Folk Fest. We have talked about it several times. There's a lot of stuff online about it. Man, it is going to be fun. And I've tasted all 3 of the country beers that we brewed, and they're remarkable. The Estonian beer that I was worried about,
to try that one.
it's different and it's good. So that's exciting. Tonight we are doing a ribbon cutting with the Rutherford County Chamber of Commerce, celebrating the new tap system and several other things in the tap room. So come and join us at 4:00. That should be a lot of fun. And then the next weekend, the 21st, the 14th, before that, Simply Smyrna will set up a beer garden in the Depot District in Smyrna. And then the 21st, we are serving at Rutherford County Pride, and we're hosting the after party here with our friend Bradford Loomis and our other friends, Veronica's Vixens.
Oh,
So
boy.
if you're not familiar with that, look that up. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. So, yeah, that's the gauntlet, man. 3 weeks in a row.
Boom, boom, boom.
Let's do this.
Love it. Well, good show.
Yeah,
Quick and to the point.
quick and
Good
to the
stuff.
point.
A lot of data.
A lot of data.
Data-driven show.
That's good.
Yep.
That's good.
All right.
We'll see
Have a
y'all
good week.
next week. Appreciate y'all.
We won't see you next week, will we?
Unless you live remote me in. I'm checking with Kyle to see if he wants to come on next
I
week.
don't know Kyle.
He's been on before.
Oh, well, maybe I do know Kyle then.
Kyle Koontz.
No, Kyle.
Okay, sounds good.
Come on
See
down,
ya. Have a
pal.
good week.
All right. See y'all. Yeah. Thank you for listening to another episode of This Week in Real Estate with Jonathan Harmon and Bryan Nale, your go-to resource for all things real estate in Middle Tennessee. Be sure to like, share, follow, subscribe, and leave us a 5-star review. We will see y'all on the next one.
Now for the nitty-gritty. Primis Mortgage Company is a subsidiary of Primis Bank, a member FDIC. Primis Mortgage NMLS number 1894879, BK number 1042893, ML number 1894879. As always, all loans are subject to credit approval and product guidelines. Equal housing lender.